Yo, what is up, guys? It is
What's
Caden
up?
with KI Productions, the CEO of KI Productions, the music label. I'm here right now with Calebi. He is a new sign for us, and I'm so excited. This man has been a legend, and he is the sole reason I started in music when I started in music. So, Calebi, without a doubt, can you introduce who you are? Why you started, et cetera, et cetera.
Yo, what's good? I'm Caleb Plummer, but I go by Calebi.
Let's go.
Well, I guess it's the other way around. Um, but yeah, I've been doing this for a long time, long time. Haven't really started taking myself seriously until recently. And I've always known Caden, you know, ever since he popped out of his mom's belly. Uh,
That's a clean way of
but
saying it.
Yeah, and bro's always been family to me. So, and that's kind of, I'm glad that I'm able to be here on his live stream and
Yeah,
do my
bro.
thing.
Man, I'm so excited that he's here. You have no idea what an inspiration, what a motivator he has been in my musical journey. So I'm gonna give a little
Sure.
bit of backstory on me. Um, you guys have heard it in other videos, but I started when I was 8 or 9, and the sole reason that I was able to is because I was gifted, or before that actually, we were at a Thanksgiving, and Caleb came over with his mom, his sister, his brother. They came over for lunch, and he was like, "Yeah, I do music," and I didn't know that at the time, and he showed me this one song, and I was like, "Dude, that's sick." And so eventually on Christmas he had mentioned something about giving me a an interface and a microphone to get started with music, and I was like, heck yeah, let's do it. And so I he gifted it to me for Christmas. I was so stoked that I had it, and I pulled up Audacity on my laptop. At the time it was like a Core i3. It was a really bad machine, and he was like, "Yeah, you can have it." He gave it to me. I started making music, and now he's here. So, thank you, Caleb, for that. And I
Yes,
just
sir.
have, as you guys can see in the title, it's an interview. So I wanted to um, make sure to interview him. So I'm gonna start off firing questions. Caleb, answer them to the best of your abilities, please. And so one thing is, when did you start making music?
Started making music when I was 12. Really back then, I was heavily involved in the church, so I was making like some God raps. I was listening to Lecrae, Trip Lee, KB. Those guys still go hard. Shout out to them. But yeah, and then I had this little rap group called Wild4J. Which stands for Young and Reckless for Jesus. Um, and that was cool, man. I mean, I was really excited. Back then, I was writing notes in like I was writing all my raps in notebooks, and I'd be like in class, in school, and the teacher would be talking, and they'd make me put away my notebook because I'm writing too many
Yeah, dude,
raps.
that's
So
sick,
yeah,
man.
and so basically, from there, I just kind of took off with it. I did my own thing, but 12 is when I started.
Sick, dude. That's amazing. What really, when you first started making music, like doing the Young and Reckless for Jesus, what inspired you to start it? Not like what keeps inspiring you new now, but what was the sole reason that you started doing music?
Um, I grew up listening to hip hop, right? So Eminem, and from Eminem it went to 50 Cent, and then from 50 Cent it went to like all of this new um R&B. I was listening to a lot of Kanye.
Yep.
Um and so I just kind of started spiraling into this world of hip hop, and that's always like those guys always inspired me. But then when I finally started like writing down everything that I was writing down in the notebook, to make a song, I was like, I could really do this. And so
Yeah.
I guess my inspiration was really, believing in myself and being good at something that I 100% knew I was good at.
Yeah, bro, that's awesome, dude. I'm so glad that you started like that. Man, that's amazing. One of the things that I wanted to know and that I know now, but a lot of people don't know about you, is what was your very first song that you ever like
Uh,
recorded that was
like,
for
like
Calebi?
that
Not
was
in a
for
studio,
Calebi.
just like on your phone. Like I know that you
Yeah, yeah,
recorded
yeah.
Paradise, but was there any before that?
Um, Dude, I don't even know the song, but it was with my roommate now. Um, Back then we called him 40 37 40. I think part of that was inspired by he's a big Drake fan, so it was inspired by like Drake's producer, and he goes by OVO 40.
Yep.
Um, so he just kind of just he wasn't serious about it. I
Yeah.
think the person who was the most serious was me, but that was his name. And I think uh back then the first song that we ever recorded that we were really hyped about was on a phone. um it was on like two phones. We had a whole setup, uh and
My
we were
man's had the
using
best
stock.
setup on the planet.
Yeah,
Two iPhones,
something like that.
two iPhones,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
a
you're
laptop.
cooking up. When they bring out the two iPhones, that's how you know you're cooking up. But I forgot what it was called. But it was it was right after we recorded Paradise. Um, or it was right before that. It was before we recorded Paradise, and that's kind of I think it was called Youngins,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just like me and Luke going back and forth on the beat, and it was kind of like this like back and forth type thing that we had going on, and that got us super hyped up.
Yeah, dude, that's sick. Yeah, I remember you telling me about Paradise and how you had two socks over this phone recording it.
Yeah,
Man, that's awesome. If you guys haven't heard it there on his old SoundCloud, I'll leave a link in the description once the video's out.
yeah,
To
do
that
that
song.
because I have like 3 or 4 accounts on SoundCloud.
Yeah.
I have another song on there, by the way. It's on my most recent account with profile pic of Hulk Hogan. He's wearing
Hmm.
sunglasses. Called Broken Love. So if you want to go listen to that, that's
Broken Love is a
also
good song, guys. Broken Love is a
yeah.
good song. Um, and then another question was, why, when was, when was the first time that you actually hopped in a studio? Like, you would sit
First,
under that stairs at Bethany and
yeah,
you'd be recording music. When was the first time that you went into an actual studio with professional microphones and audio interface, all the shebang, maybe a mixer board if you're fancy.
yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, there's like I'm gonna give you the quick backstory, but I was like 13 or 14, and we had neighbors, and my little brother was friends with the parents' little brother who lived next door, the neighbor's little brother.
Yep.
So they always hung out, and then we'd go to the same church. They'd come over all the time. So at one point, their father knew about the rap group that I had, and they asked us to record. He was making like a little mixtape for his church. It was like a little studio album, and it was either a mixtape or a studio album. I don't know if those are
Yeah.
like the same thing, but we had one song on there, and it was called Bible. And
Okay. Big question. Can you hear it now? Is it on
can I?
Spotify?
No, it's not. I don't think. I don't
Okay.
think it is.
Okay. Because when I heard when you told me the story first, When you said Bible, I was like, did you write the Bible? Now that's the book for me. I was like, was that you? But
Nah.
yeah,
That's way back.
I
That's
went
not
back and
me.
listened to it, and I was like, that's not Caleb.
Yeah, it's
So,
got like a
um,
bunch of R&B vibes, and
yeah, bro. One of the things that I wanted to listen to is when I brought up to you about joining the label, what was your initial thoughts? Like, what was going through your head?
I guess I have had a manager in the past, and we came to disagreements, and I think it's just because of his lack of experience. I don't know what it was, but we just didn't see eye to eye. And I think it's because he had a little bit of control over what I was writing and what I was putting out. And that's part of the reason where the party got taken down, where the party at got taken down on Spotify. Menace got taken down on Spotify. All my songs. And
Why?
I was forcing a rebrand, and it wasn't necessary.
Yeah,
Um,
no,
and
I loved Menace and the other songs.
yeah, nah. So basically, I was like, "Yo, this isn't gonna work." But based on that experience, I was like, I wasn't hesitant when you asked me. Because I was like, bro just recorded me a whole song, like, and it sounds amazing. That shit sounds raw.
Yeah,
And I knew that that you were talking about the label earlier, and you were very passionate about it. And I mean, with great creativity,
yeah,
and good people who are behind you, I don't see why we can't grow. And I guess like that's that was kind of my thought process, was like, let's let's expand,
yeah.
let's make this go further.
So based off that experience with your old manager, that was something that I had never heard. I just thought like, oh, you thought Menace wasn't good or anything. That's what was going through my head when you took down those songs. And so with that experience, when I asked you and when you came in, were you, um, I know originally you were super hyped for it, but once you got home before you actually made the commitment, um, was that some, were you hesitant at all to join after the fact,
um
after you had originally said like, yeah, I'd be interested?
I guess the only hesitance I had was what we talked about. um and it was just kind of covering like the explicit content that I cover, because I know, there's a lot of people watching this
Yeah,
who, you know they they may not be able to listen to that type of music, or they don't listen to it because of what they're talking about.
yeah,
I guess that was my one major question. But after we got that covered, and I realized that you were giving me musical freedom, to vent and put out
yeah,
whatever I wanted, I was like, hands down, I'm with it.
yeah. And that's one
Because
of the things that we really are passionate about. Like, we don't want to like make it so that the artist is fake. We want it to be as real as possible to the people. Like, we don't want to have someone that's energetic and happy and wants to express happiness and joy and just go at it and make them into someone that's like Juice WRLD, where they're sad and they're expressing sadness and depressive. Um,
yeah,
so I think that that's something that we're really passionate at the label, is that we give the musical artist complete freedom because we believe in them having their own view and stuff like that. So, with that being said, also, when, how do I phrase this? Okay, I forgot the question. Is there, I'm going to skip right to the part. Is there a question that you want to ask me while we're on stream?
um I'm I'm gonna hit you with that same question.
Okay.
um what was it that inspired you, that that made you inspired by what I was doing in the music? that I was making.
Yeah, yeah. So one of the things that really truly inspired me about music was you, and the reason that you inspired me in particular, then from Juice World and from Trippie Redd, Ian Dior, the Kid Leroy, all those people. Um, it was that you after Paradise dropped and Where the Party At, um, Her Mistake, all those songs you didn't have $1,000, $2,000 budget. You had what, maybe $200, $300 to spend on a studio. Like that showed
Yeah,
me, and after you showed me Paradise, I was like, you can actually make music off of like an iPhone. And so that inspired me to start writing and to start just making. And eventually that grew into being a label and wanting to help other artists get up on their feet to get going in their musical journey. Um,
yes, sir.
because for me, I don't want to be the best. I want to be someone that's good at it and that likes it, but I also don't want to be that person that's like, I I'm the best. You guys can't be good at all. You guys have to be below me. I'm the best. No, I don't want to be like that. I want to help other people get up, even if it means putting them in front of me. Um, so yeah, and that's what inspired me about you. And now I have a question for you. I remember the question.
Yes, sir.
So a lot of people don't know, unless you saw the Instagram post this morning, that we have created the first official song through the label, and it is called Get Out. Um, you guys will get to see that video once we finish making it and create it, and we'll have some insane cinematography in it. But what was your initial thought when we said let's go make a song? It was a Easter morning. You came over for lunch, and we were like, let's make a song. When you
Yeah,
said that, what were you expecting out of that? Not based on what came out of it. What were you expecting?
yeah. So what I was expecting was, uh, what I was currently recording. I was like, all right, so I'm gonna hop in the stew, you know, um, and I'm gonna, just get a couple things done. Like, this is gonna be fun. Um, and then I started listening to it, and I started seeing you work, and I was like, oh, we're actually in like we're in a section now. Like
Mm-hmm.
this is what's going down. So then I'm like, I at that point I was like, you inspired me to go harder. So I guess before we even entered the studio, I was like, all right, like, you know, um they say that like you can do whatever you want, right? And like I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, yeah, we can go record in the my boy's studio.
Yeah.
I wasn't really thinking much of it, it was kind of like, yeah, we'll have fun, it'll be cool. Hopefully like I can give him a solid feature. But once we were in there and I saw you recording, my whole mindset changed.
Yeah.
And I knew that you were really about it, you know? I wasn't expecting you to pull that off. And that that makes me want to go harder for you. So um
Yeah.
yeah,
That was when. Okay, so here's one of the things that shocks me, or that most of my friends who are like new to me, they don't know me very well from school. When they think of a 14-year-old and I say I'm a music producer, I make music, and they're all like, okay, you're a
yeah,
SoundCloud rapper. You record on a Focusrite Solo, you've got one of those crappy wired mics. Um,
yeah,
was when I said let's go and I want to show you my studio and let's make a song. Were you expecting for me to have 10 grand worth of equipment in my studio? Or
no,
were you expecting some sort of like plastic desk with a laptop, a Focusrite Solo, the one that you gave me with the mic? Was that what you
yeah,
were expecting? Or were you
yes.
expecting.
That is exactly what I was expecting. I didn't even know that until I asked you. Um, that you built that whole thing, you know?
Yeah,
So that right there was like, okay, like he's really about it, you know? This boy is not playing.
yeah,
And I'm not gonna give somebody, you know, some 10-second feature for somebody who's as devoted as you are.
yeah,
And like, I mean, you really just, that was jaw dropping.
yeah.
Like
That
I
that
wasn't in
song was
awe, but I was
probably one
like,
of the best songs that I've ever recorded in the studio. Like
and as
with
soon as I
your
heard it,
voice, and then I sent it off to my partner, in the business, Jaden. I sent it
yeah,
off to him, and he got it back to us in like 10 minutes because I had recently switched to a new computer. And I didn't have any of my presets saved or anything. So I sent it to him and I was like, dude, I need a quick mix. Send it back to me. He worked his
yeah,
magic and he's the one that I learned from. And so he sent it back to me and I heard it and I was like, dude, this is amazing. So I give major props to that song to my man, Jaden Hahn, aka Never J. But man, it's been
I
so
think,
awesome having you on the stream. But um, I'm actually running low on time here. I've got a meeting at 7:05 with one of our other artists here, man. So I want to say huge thank you to Calebi for being on the stream, man. I personally enjoy having you on the team. You are a major help to this label, and I'm so looking forward to working with you more and more every day, probably actually, with promotional stuff and stuff like that. So with that, I gotta go.
hey, bro,
Um,
it's been real. All right,
yeah,
see you, slime.
see you, bro.